What is up, Netflix fans, and welcome back to my channel. We finally have another Netflix original movie, and this time it's called Bright. So it's been a while since I've done one of these here Netflix reviews. I'm excited to talk about Bright, but first, quick announcement. I'm getting a new setup for a new studio and a new green screen, guys. I cannot wait to show you what this looks like, but first we have to stick to the voiceover reviews for the time being. And don't worry, I already have my worst movies of 2017, my most anticipated of 2018, and my best on the way later on this week. But right now, we're talking Netflix movies, we're talking Will Smith, and we're talking disappointment. As you guys know in my reviews, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. Let's talk about the good.
So, hey Austin, what's your favorite part about Bright?
That's a great question. You know what, I'm gonna have to go with the thought behind the script of this movie. Now, not necessarily the lines of dialogue, but the way that this story goes and the way that these creatures are portrayed on screen, it kind of reminds me of a Lord of the Rings for a modern age. Now, if this was executed properly, I think this movie could have been a huge hit. But I think the idea behind everything ended up being pretty solid. And Max Landis coming up with these concepts, very creative on his part. Does Will Smith save the movie? I wouldn't go so far as saying he saves the movie, but he does give a great performance as always. Actually, him and Joel Edgerton, they both give really solid performances. Now, I have some issues with the character that Joel Edgerton is playing, but overall, I will say Will Smith does about as good as he can in a movie like this. And I will admit, as cheesy as it gets and as cornball as the script is, I did enjoy myself during some of these scenes. Some of the events that happened were pretty cool.
Oh no, here he goes.
Yeah, unfortunately, this movie just really underwhelmed me and did not live up to my expectations. Not that my expectations were really high. I just think this is the movie that could have been a lot better than it was, and honestly, I blame the directing. Now, it sucks because David Ayer, in my opinion, has had some very solid outings. Suicide Squad was not one of them, and there's been some rumors of people blaming other people, but after watching Bright, I have some of the same problems with Bright that I had for Suicide Squad.
Well, go ahead, tell us what they are. Jeez, negative Nancy over here.
I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. There's just some very obvious flaws within this movie, and I think this is a film that really could have benefited from a better script, some better directing, some more creative cinematography, and just brighter colors. It's such a dark, groggy, ugly movie, and I just didn't enjoy myself watching what was going on screen because it was just so boring. Some of the most cliched action scenes, I watched this with my wife, and we were just sitting and completely cracking up at some of the flips and the spins and the turns that were happening. At one point, this girl flies backward, and I swear she flips like 5 or 6 times. So unrealistic, and hey, in a movie about somebody with a magic wand with orcs and elves, I shouldn't really base my thoughts on realism, but I mean, at some point, you have to just cool it down a little bit. Everything was so exaggerated in this movie. Every line of dialogue was just the most cliched thing I've ever heard. Some of the lines from Joel Edgerton's character, just what he said to Will Smith playing off of his partner the entire time, I was cringing.
Hey, hold on. Were there any twists and turns in the movie?
Yeah, I was getting to that. Every twist, quote-unquote twist and turn, was not a twist or a turn. I saw the ending coming from a mile away, and frankly, nothing surprised me or shocked me. So final thoughts, overall, I was just, I was disappointed in David Ayer's effort here. I was really excited for this movie. It's the first big blockbuster movie to hit Netflix, and to me, it was a failure. Now, I think this one could veer so cheesy it's good, that category for some, but to me, I expected more out of this movie, and I'm going to grade it accordingly. I'm going to give Bright a 44%. Now, this movie will not make my worst of 2017 list, but to see those movies, stay tuned to my channel because the next couple of days we'll have the release of that video, my most anticipated of 2018, and the big finale, my top 10 best movies of 2017. Man, am I so excited for that. Also, 3 Billboards, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, all of those reviews are on the Stardust app, an app where I can talk about movies and react to trailers. If you want my thoughts on those movies, go check them out. You might even be seeing one on my upcoming top 10 list. Thank you guys so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing. You are the absolute best, and I will catch you later.